Welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to have a discussion about a very common problem and issue inside Substance Painter. And it's like when we are in the middle of the texturing process, we have a change inside the model. It could be changing the shape, the model, deleting some area, adding some area, changing the UV, or this kind of stuff. So what we can do to save the process that we take, because we create some masks, depends on the model, paint some mask or detail on the UV, and what happened to them, and what is the solution, and what is the way that we could change the model and save our process and the work that we did. Okay, so for this problem, we should consider some factor and pay attention to some details, and we can do that inside Substance Painter. Okay, so the first scenario is like we are going to just reposition the model. For example, for this pot, I'm going to move the lead and bring it up. Okay, so this is the first scenario. We are just changing some element in the model. We not remove anything, we are not adding anything, and we didn't touch the UV. Okay, so it's like, let's add the model to the 3ds Max, and we just, for example, detaching this element in here and rename it to lead, and now we have two model, and this is new with new name. But as we discussed before, the important thing when we are using Substance Painter is the material name or the texture set name. So if we keep the material on the model as same as before, and we just export the model, the new model with new position or new arrangement with the material, which is exactly the same spelling on the texture set that we have inside Substance Painter, it's nothing. So there is no problem. We can just re-import the model and everything is okay. So let's go for the test. I'm going to export this model. Okay, let's go to the export selected. And in this address, I'm going to save this pot version, like pot just position, or we can save it variation number 1, and let's save it and press OK. So we are done, right? Okay, so let's go back to the Substance Painter, and we have two methods for changing model inside Substance Painter. It's just like click and drag and release the new model inside the viewport, and you have the project configuration window, and the model is changed already. You just need to press OK, or you can go to the edit, project configuration, and you have this window. You can select the new file. Okay, this one, yes, open. And now the normal format, you can change the DirectX here to OpenGL, but it's not recommended. You can import the camera if you forget to exporting the camera with FX file. You can import it after creating the project. and you can use auto unwrap option. And there is one option that it's necessary to be turned on, which is preserve a stroke position on the mesh. What does it mean? It means if you paint something here on the model like this, okay, and the UV and the arrangement and the packing of the UV in new model that you are going to load inside Painter, it's changed, the Painter can help you to keep the paint that you fix on the UV island before match with the new UV arrangement. So it's going to keep your paint on the model and reposition the mask on the new UV. So by default, we should turn on this option. It's very useful. Okay. So let's go and press OK. And boom. Nothing changed except the change that we create on the model. And how we can solve this kind of issue in here, we can go to the shader and just turn on double-sided. And yeah, perfect. Okay, so this is scenario number 1. Let's go for the scenario number 2. Okay, for scenario number 2, we are going to touch the UV. So this is the variation number 1, and I'm going to change the UV arrangement and UV packing for the variation number 2, and this is the new UV. Let's import this model to Substance Painter and see what happened and what we can do about that. So let's load the pot version 2 in here, and now I just turned on the preserve stroke, and let's press OK. So what's happened here? Okay, the problem is related to the mesh maps. Okay, so in the mesh maps, we have the normal like that, the border space normal like that, and the ID color like that, and it's not okay. So what we can do, we can go to the baking mode again and just press bake selected texture and just redo the bake mesh again. So let's bake selected textures and see what happened after that. And now let's go to the painting mode again, and boom. Everything is okay. But there is a line here, and it's related to the detail line, and we need to reposition or just redo again this line. So let's change the position like this. Okay, that's it. I'm going to duplicate, hit Control D, and let's change the blending mode to linear dodge. And now let's set like this, and done. Okay, everything is like before, and yeah, we just change the UV of the model and re-imported again into Substance Painter, and we just redefine the mask we set on the UV. That's it. So let's go for the third scenario. Okay, in this scenario, we have a new model that we are going to work on Substance Painter, and we can do two different ways for importing this model inside Substance Painter and continue our way. The first one is to use one texture set. Okay. And for this scenario, we need to add the same material from this model to this model. And after that, we need to pack the UV again. And after that, we need to bake again. And we are ready to go. But for the second way, we can add a new material, for example, pot without lid to this model. And now we have two texture set. And in new texture set, we just need to assign the material for this new model. Okay, so these three scenario is the most common scenario that we are going to face when we are working on Substance Painter. Any other scenario that could be happened during the texturing part, it's part of this tree. Maybe a little condition is going to be changed, different time, different place, different method. But this is the main solution that you can have for replacing model inside Substance Painter. So let's go for the smart material. It's another way to preserve and save our work and reuse it again inside Substance Painter.